So if you're unfamiliar with Gary Vaynerchuk, the absolute god, I would highly recommend you familiarize yourself with him.
You have to realize when you're asking to live a 1% life, that you need to do 1% things.
Right.
Bro, there's no process. There's your process. You need to figure out you. And if you're the kind of person that needs 11 hours of sleep because that's your DNA, then get your 11 hours of sleep and dominate the other 13. If you're the kind that needs an hour for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and watch YouTube videos of like fucking people climbing trees and like that's how you roll, then enjoy your 3 hours of watching people climb trees during your food consumption hours and do you.
I'm not even gonna talk about who he is. If you don't know who he is, you are far behind in life, my friends. Do yourself a huge favor and go onto your phone, go into the podcast section of your phone, search Gary V, download his podcast and listen to an episode on your way to work. And I promise you, your life will be infinitely better in the future.
At this point, right this minute, when do you think you woke up and said, holy crap, I gotta get out of here?
I think when I was 10 years old.
So it's first thing in the morning. It's Friday, what is it, October 19th, I believe. You know, I like to start my day. Sometimes I do this. I get coffee and then I just drive around listening to podcasts. And it's funny because like, it's weird. I can only consume podcasts while I'm driving. Like I need to be doing something to consume them. And even like walking and, you know, if I'm working out or something, I don't like listening to them. But when I'm driving, I love listening to podcasts. And people are always like, oh, you should listen to audiobooks, but I can't listen to audiobooks when I'm driving for some reason. It doesn't like stick in my head. I need to read like hard copies of books. So I don't know why that's the case, but for podcasts, I need to be driving. For books, I can't listen to audiobooks. I need to read them hard copy. And the reason I don't know, I like to start my days off with something I heard from someone who is much more successful in business than I am, is that you should start your day, you should take things in before you put them out into the world. And that means energy-wise, right? You should consume before you create. So first thing in the morning, good things to do are take in, you know, some kind of consumption. Whether it is a podcast or whether it's reading or whether it's some kind of educational, you know, YouTube videos or blog posts or something like that. I like to take in before giving out. So by giving out, I mean, you know, putting a lot of work into something, whether it is work or whether it is some creative outlet or something, right? You gotta take energy in before you give it out. And that's a good way to get your day started. And for me, it's helped me, you know, be more relaxed in the morning and throughout the day. When you start your day off consuming something rather than creating something or taking something out of you. Because that's a lot of energy to start your day off with, and then you kind of feel exhausted throughout the day. So what I would suggest, and I know a lot of you guys probably work full time, that's the first thing you do in the morning, but, and this is probably cliche as well, but maybe get up an hour earlier to do things that, you know, you wouldn't normally do. And you don't have to make it such a crazy process like, oh, I'm gonna get up an hour earlier and go to the gym, because that shit's exhausting too. But just, you know, another hour, even if you want to just lay in bed for an extra 30 minutes and like think and meditate or whatever it is, and write in a journal or something. Those kind of things I have found in my experience that they help me out tremendously. So energy in before energy out. I guess that's the thesis of this talk. We eating good today, boys. We got some steak, some peppers, onions, eggs, a lot of fat, a lot of protein, minimal carbs. Trying to cut down the carbs a little bit. Shed some water weight, shed some fat, whatever. It is Friday, October 19th. It is 11:35 a.m. Got a long day ahead of me. This will probably be the only meal I have until like dinner time, maybe. Yeah, I gotta be honest with y'all. Keep it a stack. That's what we like to do here. My marketing work has taken a complete backseat to the football stuff throughout the season. And for good reason. If you watch my last vlog, which I'll link up here, I talked about the money that I've been making through fantasy football and just throughout the football season. The number was pretty high, and there's a huge opportunity, obviously, to turn that into a full-time project or, enough revenue to supply me for the year. So I've been working really hard because I see that as a long-term goal. But I have to get back into, grinding with my marketing work. And that's been one of the issues. I didn't think it would be that much of an issue. I knew that football stuff would take a lot of time out of my schedule. But it's been really hard for me to find the time and motivation to really make sure that I am, giving my clients, the best effort that I have. And there's been a few times throughout the summer where I've thought about like telling my clients, like, listen, I can't give you my 100%. So I don't know, like, I don't feel comfortable taking your money if I can't give you, what I promised up front and give you all the effort that I had up front. But I thought that was just being lazy. Like, there's always more time in the day. There's always different spots throughout your week that you could fit in other times. And it's not like I need to devote 40 hours a week to doing my marketing work, because I pretty much already do that for fantasy football. And I'm seeing the money kind of shift more towards that. So that is my primary focus. And for a while, I was like, this feels wrong. This feels wrong being my primary focus, because it's not where I'm driving most of my money. And at this point, yeah, it's great to follow your passion. It's great to follow your hobbies and whatever it is, what I'm doing. But you also have to be realistic with yourself. You need to have some kind of stream of income, right? To pay for your lifestyle, pay for whatever expenses you have, whether it's car or rent, whatever. So it's great to follow your passion, but you have to be very self-aware about the situation you're in. If you are a kid who's 17, you probably don't have a lot of expenses, right? At least if you come from, the area that I come from, where most kids, they don't have a lot of expenses when they're younger. If you've been raised in a household where you do have to pay for most of the stuff, that's unfortunate, right? And I have empathy for you, but it doesn't change anything. You still have to understand your circumstances and realize that maybe you do have to work harder, or maybe you do have to focus more on the financial things, and it's just going to take longer for you to build upon your side hustle and your passion. But yeah, now that I'm seeing the money start to move over towards the side hustle part of things, I don't feel as like, I guess I felt guilty for putting so much time and work into this passion when you weren't seeing tangible results at first. And this is with a lot of things, man. This is with like weight loss. If you're dieting, working out, trying to build muscle, you put so much work in up front without any tangible evidence that it's going to work out. You just take people's word for it. You just put your head down and you grind, and you put in the upfront work, and you build a foundation. And you just hope that it works out for you. If you are starting something, whatever it is, a workout routine, just know that like that is the right move. You are going to feel weird at times. You are going to feel like, oh, this isn't working. All the work that I'm putting in is for nothing. Just know that that's a normal feeling. Like you are going to feel that. And I promise you, just keep your head down, keep going through the motions day in, day out, grind, hustle, do all that stuff. And at the end of the day, it will work out for you. So now that I've kind of come full perspective on where I need to be, it's just a little bit more work I need to put in on the marketing side of things, and things are going good otherwise. I'm not here to like complain about it, just to like tell you kind of how I'm feeling, because I don't want to make it sound like everything is like perfect. I just work so hard and everything works out great. There are plenty of times where I'm just like, fuck, like I didn't do a good job on this, and I wish I could have put more time into this, and am I going to get fired by my clients, is blah 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 blah. And this shit happens often, man, and it's not all fucking rainbows and butterflies and fucking steak and eggs and fucking onions, baby. I love onions, man. There's one thing that makes me happy in the world. Oh, I could eat a fucking plate of onions. But I just want to check in with y'all. That's going to be most of my weekend. Because when I was out in Denver, those were some of my marketing clients, and we're starting up a new campaign on Monday. It's Friday right now. And basically, on our call, we have a bi-weekly call. So 2 Mondays ago, we basically got everything together, and we're like, okay, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do this. So we split amongst all the three of us that get on the call all of the responsibilities that we had to have prior to starting the marketing campaign. So we're like, we're going to put a due date of Friday to have everything together to go, which is today. So we have everything kind of together. Now I have to set everything up within Facebook. And within the Facebook and Instagram advertising platform. So that's going to take away the large majority of my weekend. I work on weekends all the time. And that's not to tell you that like in order to build something like this, you have to work on weekends all the time. It's just like, I don't mind working on weekends at all. Because, for one, like I'm kind of building my lifestyle around my work and my job. So it's like when I'm working, it's not necessarily like, oh, fuck, I have to work. It's just like, this is what I do. This is what I enjoy doing. So it's like built into my life, if you know what I mean. Like rather than just sitting in bed and watching Netflix, like I work and I do stuff. But I mean, I do that shit too. So it's not like to say that's the only thing I do. But yeah, I mean, I'll work on Saturdays. I'll work on Sundays, depending if I go out on a Saturday night. But there will also be days, like I'm not going to lie, there'll be days like a Tuesday or a Wednesday where I'm just like, fuck this. I'm not doing anything. I'm too tired. And I just don't do anything. And I feel guilty about it. I really do. Because I'm like, how am I going to quit my job and go after something and, act like I'm working so hard and then have days where I just want to take off. But I mean, that's normal. And you just have to like get over that like self-guilt. If that's what's going to get me ahead in the long run, like if I need those days or those breaks where I'm just like, you know what, today all I want to do is lay in bed, maybe read a little bit, watch a fucking season of this or et cetera, play basketball, go to the gym, and that's it. If that's like a reset day for me and I need that, I need to not feel guilty about that. And that's like for you guys too. Anything that helps supplement the bigger picture, just don't feel bad about it. I have no idea why I'm talking about this right now. I think I literally just meant to show you what I was eating. And that was it, but it got off onto this, and I will talk to y'all later. Okay, so we're officially in expansion mode here at the HQ.
Now, our operation is small, but there's a lot of potential for aggressive expansion.
If you listen to the last, wasn't necessarily a vlog, I just put up an unedited call between me and my business coach, Dan. We had talked about turning my YouTube channel, turning my business, the whole fantasy football thing, into a media company.
The cost of entry to being relevant in our society today is content. If you're not putting out stories, you basically don't exist. Every one of you is a media company.
But up to this point, it's been pretty much, Nick Ercolano on YouTube. However, now I need to look at stepping away from the content side of things, expanding it, so I'm more of like, it's not just like Nick Ercolano does fantasy football advice on YouTube, it's more like Nick is the head of a fantasy sports media company. So the last few days I've been working on almost like a job application form. So I just plugged into the video I put up this morning, the waiver wire video I do every Tuesday, which is a fantasy football thing, telling people that I'm looking to expand and provide more content on my channel through other people. So not just me putting up content on the channel, and it's gonna be through things that are not fantasy football, but preferably. So I want people to join the channel and do other fantasy sports and just do a bunch of other things. So like fantasy baseball, basketball, soccer, golf, whatever. But I think this has potential to be fucking huge because not a lot of people have tapped into a wide diversity of things. For instance, esports.
The popular game, Fortnite, video game. It's made $100 million in revenue in its first 90 days.
Young adults between the ages of 18 and 34. There are billions of hours watched every month, and this is what they watch instead of traditional network television shows.
It's obviously growing massively, but I don't think it's necessarily hit the mainstream yet in the sense that it's really popular and there's a lot of money in it. But like if I went around to my 15 closest friends, none of them could name a popular streamer besides like Ninja.
So the question is, how much money does Ninja make? Our calculations come to a whopping $18 million a year. To put that in perspective, Ninja makes as much money playing Fortnite as New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees does playing in the NFL.
None of them would say that they watch video games, right? So in the sense that it's very popular, yeah, but not in the sense that it's mainstream for like normal people like you and I probably. Maybe some of you guys watch that stuff, but I think like we're just at the bottom of the curve and it's just gonna get way more popular. So if I can get someone who either talks about the esports industry or actually does like live streaming video games, that's something I wanna bring on. I think there's a ridiculous amount of growth in other fantasy sectors, like the Fantasy Bachelor, for instance, is a fucking perfect example for this.
Welcome back to another week of Bachelor Fantasy Breakdown. I'm Alex.
And I'm Megan.
I would love to bring on even a girl to the channel who plays Fantasy Bachelor, which was really popular. At the last full-time job I had, they had like a Fantasy Bachelor tournament basically. And there's gonna be more of these types of games going on throughout the coming years. And people are gonna get more creative with it. Like I'm sure Fantasy Game of Thrones is gonna be a thing when Game of Thrones comes back on.
Hello again everyone and welcome to Game of Thrones Fantasy League. I am your host Brandon Cruz and this is week 3.
So I wanna really diversify this and not just be like, oh yeah, we're just basketball and baseball. I want this to be like a fucking big thing, and I see like the potential is limitless with this and I'm just doing fantasy football. The goal of this is to be able to provide content, one, to a wide audience, but to maintain content and engagement throughout the year, because I made a lot of money just off of fantasy football, right? And that's like I can only do that for 4 months or so, right? Provide income and revenue through fantasy football. But if I have someone putting out, even if it's like 50% of the content I do throughout basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, soccer, Bachelor, TV shows, like all this stuff throughout the year, the brand would fucking explode. You know what I mean? And it would be limitless at that point. So that's what I'm looking to do. I'm really trying to take this to the next level. So I'm going to be bringing on people who create content. So video creators. So basically, kind of want to take you behind the scenes here. I use a software called Lead Pages for creating landing pages. And for any of you guys that aren't familiar with what a landing page is, it's pretty much, it's not a website, but it's just a page by itself that's created to capture lead forms. So if there's a company giving away a coupon, or if there's a place to sign up for like an email list or whatever, it's usually on a landing page, which is just like a one page by itself that you can enter info in. So this is pretty much like the job description that I have set up. And I told people in the video, like, hey, if you're interested, click on the job description. They'll go read through exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm trying to be like very upfront with what I'm looking for. I am interested in the person being good at what they do. Like I want the quality of the information that they give out to these sports to be like top notch, but I'm more interested in them being like a good fit with the brand. It being like a personality fit and someone that my audience that I already have enjoys this person. They're like down to earth and they're funny and they have a personality and they're authentic on camera. And that's what I want to do. And think of like Barstool, right? Barstool is, and I go back to them because I think their business model is so fucking good. And regardless of how many people hate Prez and think he's like a piece of shit, he is so fucking good at marketing in today's day and age. And they're all in on like podcasts, right? They're all in on video too, because they're all over Instagram and they're all over all these places. But they are expanding their podcast network, right? They have Part of My Take, but they also have this new podcast that came out with two girls, like Call Her Daddy. So it's almost like these are all separate entities, but they're owned by Barstool. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to put on a few different people. So even if it's like a kid from fucking, I don't know, Alabama that wants to be on.
Hello! Welcome to the YouTube! It's game day. Who are we playing? Missouri! This week is actually homecoming.
I want you to build up your personal brand, but it's going to be under the Big Dogs Gotta Eat network, if that makes sense. So that's like the goal, to make this a full-blown media thing. Yeah, so basically what I'm gonna do is have them read this. If they think it's a good fit, they're going to click here basically, and it'll take them to an actual like application form, which I just did on like Google Docs. And they fill out a lot of their basic information, and it kind of just asks them like what their experience is. And this is just the first part of the application. What I'm gonna do is go through like their social handles and the things that they put on this application. And then if I think it's a good fit moving forward, I'm gonna go forward with the interview process and actually make them submit a video portion of the interview, because I've had to do video interviews where I'd have to create a video based on what the applicant's application like asked me to do, and I thought that was a phenomenal way of like narrowing down and getting a feel for the actual applicant rather than just through like bullshitting through typing. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So if I think it's good, then I'm gonna ask them to do a video application. I think not only it gets me, you know, a feel for their personality, how they do on camera, because this role would only be on camera. And I'm looking to bring on anywhere from like 1 to fucking 8 people, whatever. It's more quality than quantity right now as I scale up. And I wanna make sure I'm doing this like efficiently. It's just been hard at this point because it's hard to give away a lot of empowerment to someone if you don't like know them or trust them yet, right? So I want to get a video done, and I think that will also narrow down a good amount of people that will just be like, oh, I don't, you know, I've never done video editing, I don't know how to upload a video, blah, blah, blah.
There must be an on button somewhere. Press the Apple thing.
Listen, if you're not willing to figure that out, if you're not resourceful enough to figure how to do that shit out, then you're probably not a good fit to begin with, you know what I mean? So I think it helps narrow down a lot of question marks that you might have up front. And that's just, I guess, like a lesson to anyone that is trying to build a business or something, or just in general, like a video application process is a really good way of narrowing down people, and that's what I'm going to do here. What I might do is do a mashup of some of the people that will send in video interviews and then put it up on the channel and see what my audience thinks of the people. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do that yet, because I feel weird if the people didn't want me to do that. That's possible, so I'll keep y'all posted on that. So it's Saturday morning right now. Actually, it's like the afternoon. It's about noon. I just got finished up at the gym. That's beautiful Gold's Gym. That's where the muscles are made. I'm headed to Starbucks. I was in Starbucks last night until about 9 o'clock on a Friday night, and then I went to the gym afterwards. So literally within the last 12 hours, I've been to Gold's twice. I've been to Starbucks twice. I had to get out of my house to fucking do some other work. But I had my weekly call with my coach, Dan, and got really, really goddamn rejuvenated. Because for a while, you know, like week over week over week, I'd been producing content, right? And of course, like the pillar of my brand and my business is getting out content to you guys. Like everything I've built so far, whether it's an audience or if it's revenue, like money-wise, anything I've built so far is based off the pillar of me putting out a video onto YouTube, right? So, and this is something that I've known and I've heard echoed from many, many, many people who have been successful in business, and books that I've read about business is, you know, I'm sure you've heard of like the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the things you do produce 80% of the results. And, you know, I would even say that might be a stronger correlation to like 95 to 5% rule, and it's all about context of what it is. And I've broken it down to the point where, you know, the single most important thing for me to do is to do the research on my fantasy videos and film them. And then every other part of the business and the brand and the channel needs to be outsourced.
Well, I've outsourced everything my whole life. Either I outsource it or I punt it. I don't want to do anything. I would never, ever, ever do anything that I didn't want to do if I could help it.
In the last few videos, I've talked about how I wanted to bring on other parts or other team members, right, to create content for the channel, and that's so I can keep engagement throughout the season. But I think a lot of the people that reach out to me that say they want to help can really actually help on these other processes. And I'm going to put this image up on the screen right now, and what I'm doing is for the next week or two, my main focus and priority is to literally, and if you've heard of this before, like successful businesses, you get to a point, right, where you can't scale anymore successfully. And I've gotten to the point where I can't scale anymore because I can't physically do anything else. And you're looking at this chart and you don't really realize it because, right, you just come onto my YouTube channel and you see, okay, he posted a video. That's really all you see as an audience point of view. In the background of everything, though, you look at the infrastructure of what I'm trying to build. Because I will say, like, this is not a typical like YouTube thing because people just post on YouTube and that's a lot of what they do. But I'm looking at this, right? I want to make this my full-time income and my job and my business. So when I look at these things, I see it differently than a lot of people that do YouTube videos. So I break it down into every single part of my business. And this was the key takeaway from the call I had with Dan. You need to do this. If you're a small business and you are struggling to scale, it's because you can't take on any more manual work. So what you have to do is break your business into every single part that contributes to the process of building the business. And this is what I've done. So I have YouTube, there's all the social platforms, right? There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's the email automated messages, there is Patreon, there is the blog, there is merchandise, there is sponsorships, there is the podcast. So as you can see, when you don't really think about a lot of these things, there are so many different parts to it. There is the emails that I get daily from people just asking random questions. So my main focus is to literally write clear and concise directions, like step-by-step directions for every single part of the business, right? So if it's Instagram, so two of the things that have really fallen off during the season are my email automations and my Instagram. I do not post anywhere near consistently as I would like to because Instagram is such a popular platform and it grows so quickly. Right? I just started like 5 months ago and I'm up to like 1,500 followers. And that's with me not following anyone. So it's like real, like organic following, not fucking people who follow 10,000 people and have 10,000 followers, because half of those people don't give a shit. They only follow you because you follow them. So what I'm building is completely fucking organic. And that's the only way I see me having success with this stuff. So what I'm saying is it's so popular, but I've let it fall off. So I need to outsource that to someone who can constantly update that. So I'm literally writing out perfect directions in terms of like, how many times a week we're going to post, how many times a day of a specific day we're going to post, what exactly the content is, how the wording in the Instagram caption is going to be, what the exact design is going to be based off of, how the caption is like the actual text. So I'm literally going to write down direction by direction. I'm going to say log into Instagram, username, boom, password, boom, get design from this Google sheet or from this designer. Start typing caption. The heading will be this. You're going to use the semicolon underneath. The next section will be this, right? So you automate everything. You write down every fucking piece of your business. And this is going to take a long ass time. There's going to be a lot of work, but in the long run, this is going to save me 1,000,000 hours. Because what this does is when you start scaling, now you have systems and processes in place. So anyone that wants to take over, anyone that can take over, doesn't have to be an expert at it. All they have to do is read the fucking directions, right? And that's exactly what they'll do going forward, so that I can completely get that off my plate. So the goal of this whole thing is to get like Instagram, get email, get the Facebook page, get all of this off my plate. So I'm not doing none of that shit. And the only thing I am focused on is producing YouTube content. I want to vlog like this. I want to do the research for my fantasy football videos, film myself doing it, and then be out of the fucking equation. Because if that's the only thing I'm spending my time on, one, the volume of that type of content can be fucking exponential, as well as the quality of it, because I'll be able to spend a lot more time doing research for the videos. I'll be able to spend a lot more time like getting cool footage for the vlogs and, you know, and growing the business way quicker, so you guys will get a lot more quality content from it. So I hope that makes sense. So I guess this is like a learning point for me, right? I'm at the point in my business where I can't scale any further. So I'm going to start outsourcing to new team members and stuff. And the way to successfully do that is not to bring someone on and then try to teach them it. It's literally write down step by step the exact process as if someone was in your shoes doing it, so that they can learn it. And then they'll catch on really quickly. And then if something were to happen, because there's going to be turnover where someone's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore, or I have a full-time job that I have to focus on or whatever. Boom. It's not a problem when the next person steps in because they have clear, concise direction. So I'm going to be writing out all of this shit, but at the same time, I'm going to make a video doing the exact same thing. And it's all going to be in a like Google shared folder. And it's crazy thinking about this, because this is all stuff that like when I was working in the corporate world, like a lot of these companies had this stuff, but you don't think about it when you're actually building the business. And now I'm at the point where, you know, when a new team member comes on, I'm gonna be like, hey, this is the Google Share Drive. If this is the platform that you're responsible for, go into this folder. Here's clear directions. Here's everything you need to know about doing it, so that like I will never need to answer questions for them for the most part, right? Of course, there's gonna be questions, and I'm gonna have to improve upon the directions and the stuff that I give them, but the overall point is that in order to scale successfully, you have to have systems and processes in place. And I've heard it a million times, but I guess I never really, and I knew I was gonna have to do this eventually, but I was like, I'm gonna put it off and put it off and put it off until I physically couldn't do any more work by myself. And that is now. So just wanted to give you a little life update and lesson.
What you're about to see may disturb you.
Steve's on camera today. He's on camera duties. We don't get, what do you mean it's bullshit? If we don't get good footage for today, it's on Steve's fault.
Steve,
and,
what fun.
And Sheldon, you're hired if Steve gets fired.
Life is very good when you own Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Stack them. One league, both players. Stack.
Later.
Get it, Pappy. You've been a very good cameraman today. We're here with Georgie Mortgage. You know why we call him Georgie Mortgage?
Oh, you wait till next week, you'll find out.
We're gonna start this podcast on Wednesday. The E-Town Get Down recap.
What's cracking, big dogs? Welcome back to the channel. It's a different HQ than we're normally at.
But if you need to make some money, Georgie Mortgage is gonna give you his best picks of the week. What's your lifetime record?
39-0-1.
How many mortgages have you solved?
How many mortgages? 18 mortgages.
That's a lot of houses.
Paid
That's
off.
a lot of houses.
Yeah. As gifts.
18 mortgages. You don't want to know that answer. Don't ask a question you don't want to know the answer to.
Another one. Shut down.
Your mortgage! I want your mortgage! Because it's getting paid off next week!
Don't pay this man. Don't take his bets. Don't take his bets. Not bet what he bets. Bet what Steve bet.
George! Bad buzz! Nick! Good buzz! Winners!
We need a picture.
It's such a bad picture.
Only for the IG.
Steve sucks. Steve.
You know what's a huge problem with our whole generation?
Yo, who's a cop? Raise your hand.
Swear on your mother's grave, you're still not a cop! I am not a fucking cop!
Raise your hand.
Who's a cop? Raise your hand.
Raise your
Raise your fucking hand.
raise that shit.
Raise your hand.
Narc. All right, so it's officially time to start looking at some of the applications that came in. So the big, what Dan calls this, the MITs.
Step up in this bitch like.
You make your MITs for the week or the day or the month, whatever it is, most important tasks. So right now, a lot of times I get caught up in my day-to-day things that I need to do, you know, write this blog post, make this video, blah, 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 answer these fucking emails, none of that shit. I mean, they're important, of course, but
How does it make you feel? It doesn't matter how it makes you feel!
you look at the bigger picture, you have to be able to differentiate your most important tasks And I think writing a very short to-do list with just your most important tasks on the top of the to-do list with nothing else on them. When you make a to-do list with 15 things on them, you're not gonna, one, you're 100% not going to finish all those 15 things. Two, it's gonna make you feel shitty as you're going down them and realizing once you get to the end of the day, you only got like 30% of the stuff done, right? You can knock off 5 things and feel like shit because you got 15 things on there. However, if you put 2 or 3 really important things and you get those things done in the day, you're gonna feel really good. You know, a lot of this stuff is a mental game. But my most important tasks right now are, 1, starting to go through the applications. So I haven't even started yet because I wanted to give people time to see the videos and apply and, you know, put that stuff in. And we've gotten about 80 applications so far. I think the exact number might have been 79, maybe 80 from last night. But 80 applications, man, that's fucking crazy, first of all. Now I need to break it down to the next step in the interview process, which will be choosing, I don't know how many people I'm gonna end up seeing or liking, wanting to move on to the next step, and I'm gonna have them kind of pitch me a video. I'm gonna have them send me a YouTube link to a video that they make. And that makes them have to learn the YouTube platform a little more. They're gonna have to upload something to YouTube, send me the link, it'll be on private, of course. I'm not making them like publish a YouTube video, but it's easy for me to get to know them better through a YouTube video. So yeah, that's my number 1 task right now. I wanna do that for the next couple hours, just sit down, go through, and try to figure out, you know, hopefully like 10, even if it's like 5 or 3 good candidates, and then move from there.
You can't be paralyzed by fear of failure, or you will never push yourself. You keep pushing because you believe in yourself and in your vision. And you know that it's the right thing to do, and success will come, so don't be afraid to fail.
So I just got finished at the gym. You probably just saw a little workout montage. Yeah, it's almost 9:30. I'm about to hop on a call. Not a call, but Noah is this kid he's in college. He's the kid that's been blogging for me all summer pretty much. Done a really good fucking job, working super hard, so I appreciate that on his front. And you know, as I'm starting to scale out, so we've officially brought on an editor, Scott. So shout out Scott, because he's the one editing this entire vlog.
This shout out goes out to you, Scott. Appreciation has been given.
He's taking over the vlogging portions of my edits. The fantasy football stuff is pretty quick for me to edit because there's not much there's not much creativity you could put into the edits, so I could do those quickly. So I figured I would hand off the vlog stuff to him. So I just literally record and then send him over the files, and Scott does a fucking killer job of editing everything. So we have Scott on as editor. Noah has been blogging for me. Noah is coming on the video now. This is the first time he's gonna be on a video with me, so I bet he's probably a little bit nervous. But this is a big step because I want to start getting other faces onto the channel so that everyone doesn't like just just think of me when they think of the brand, because I am trying to separate myself from the brand a little bit. Obviously, I still want to be the face of the brand, but this is a way that I can start slowly. You know, if I put them on 1 video a week, if I'm putting out 3 or 4 videos a week, bring them on for one of those, the audience will slowly get acquainted to it. So I have him coming on. I have a kid named Dylan who's going to be doing graphic design, so he's going to be taking over Instagram. Well, he's going to be helping Scott with the vlogs as well as making the images for Instagram. And then I have a kid, Lucas is taking over. I'm outsourcing Instagram for Big Dogs completely. So he's going to be doing the posting, getting the images from everything. So I'm slowly outsourcing each part of the business so that I can have more time to focus on the content that really matters at hand. So that's where I'm at right now. And this is gonna close out the vlog because I realize this has been a long one and it's taken, honestly, probably the last month or so. But I just want to give you guys some updates about to get on this video. Then we have started doing an E-Town Get Down, my home fantasy football league recap podcast every week, which is a new piece of content that I'm doing now. And then I have my Patreon only live stream tonight. So today's a busy ass day, but I wanted to check in with you guys this weekend. Going to a Friendsgiving in New York City. So I kind of wanted to wrap up this vlog and then start the next one with that one. So shout out to Scott.
Today's video is all about Scott's shout out.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, that's it. So I'll see y'all next week. Peace.